Okay, hello everyone. So today we are going to move on into our next topic. We are done with product and services, and then we are done with processes, procedures, and instruction. And now we are moving into our next chapter, which is chapter 3, make and reply to enquiry. Okay, we cannot run away from this topic because whenever you are talking about products and services, processes and procedures, you will always come across a situation where people will ask questions to you to get more information related to the product and also related to the processes. Okay, so you will have to deal with inquiry, whether you are the person who make inquiry or you might be the person who has to reply to the inquiry given. Okay, so let's have a look at what is inquiry. So what is the difference between inquiry and also inquiry? Okay, so in terms of the pronunciation, it is the same, almost the same, but the spelling is different. Okay, one started with E, the other one started with I. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so an inquiry refers to a question about something or someone, or request for information regarding something or someone. Alright, so when we talk about inquiry, it's about asking for feedback, right? About something or about someone, or asking for requests for information about something or about someone. All right, so if you happen to be the person who need to reply to this question, you have to be someone who is knowledgeable. You have to be someone who is approachable, right? And then you need to give quick response to the person asking. All right. Sometimes if you are in business matter, right? When you deal with your user of the product, when you deal with your customer, you have to be quick in giving information or um, cater to the request given by your customer. All right, so you have to deal with this inquiry. Okay, so in business, inquiry usually involve requesting for information related to products and services. So whether the information can be based on the product itself, the goods, whether it is about the price list, the catalogs, asking for samples of goods, right? Maybe sometime they want to ask about the features, the unique features of the product, or they want to ask about after sales service, right? They want to ask about the warranty, they want to ask about the delivery, and so on. So anything related to the products and the services. So inquiry will always accompanied by a reply. Like I said, there's a person who make it, and there's also a person who has to attain to the inquiry, who has to reply to it. It is important that reply should be done promptly. Okay, so whenever you make inquiry or whenever you have to reply to it, it has to be done quickly because you do not want to delay. By delaying, you will lose the person asking for it will lose their interest, and then they might move on to something else. Okay, so that's very important. Okay, so what are the possible inquiries that you would have in your daily life? So I believe it's something that is unavoidable. I think in our daily life, we have to deal with a lot of questions when it comes to inquiries, right? For example, if you are at a shopping mall, okay, so the salesperson might come to you and ask, what kind of product are you looking for, or uh, what kind of brand would you like to look into, okay? Or you might be asking your friend at the shopping mall, which one should I buy, or which one is suitable for me. So that's the kind of inquiries you might want to do at the shopping complex. At the clinic, right? You might be asking the doctor, is there anything wrong with my head? Can I go to work today? Can I go to class today? Are you going to give me some MC for the day? Right? So that will be some of the inquiries you'll be asking the doctor. And then the doctor might be also asking some question to you. Uh, uh, which area do you feel the pain? Right? So how many times have you visited the toilet? Do you throw up today? Those would be some of the possible inquiries, okay? So some other inquiries would be, the common one would be, what is your name, right? When shall we meet for lunch? Where can I get a copy of this book? Which lecturer teaches this course? Or who's calling? So that will be some of the common inquiries that you have in your daily life. What is your, when is your birthday? Who is your favorite singer? Where is the KLCC? How do you prefer your eggs, scrambled or fried? You know, those would be some of the common inquiries that you will have in your daily life, okay? So, the modes of inquiries. So, there are two modes of inquiry. So, two mechanism or two types of inquiries that you can do. The common one would be oral form, verbal, right? So when we talk about verbal inquiries, it can happen face to face. It can happen through telephone calls, right? So that would be the common oral inquiries that people are doing. In terms of written form, we can do inquiries through letters of inquiries, right? So that is formal. If you are dealing with matter that is serious, you know, something that has to be black and white, you might want to produce a formal letter of inquiries, you know, to inquire about certain things, about the products and so on. We also have memo of inquiries, okay? So memo happen if you want to inquire to the person that works in the same institution with you, right? And we also have the easiest and the quickest form of inquiry, inquiry would be email. We have inquiries through email. I believe nowadays everyone have access to the email, so that's the fastest way when we talk about written form of inquiries. Okay, so the use of models and WH questions in inquiries. So like I said, inquiries is about asking information and also making a request to get certain information, right? So when you are asking and when you are making a request, you will use a lot of WH question. Your what, when, where, which, how long, how far, and so on. And then you will also use a lot of models. Model is used to lighten up the request. You know, you want to sound polite and you do not want to make it as too direct, right? Because if it is too directed, people might take it as an instruction. People might say you are very bossy and so on, right? So you don't want to sound bossy, you want to sound polite, so you always make use of models into your enquiries. Okay, so let's have a look at samples of WH question. I think you guys are very familiar with this one. Your what, your what for, what did you do that for, when, where, which is about choices, asking for choices, is either A or B. So which color do you want, which which meal do you prefer, and so on, right? Who is about people, whom is about asking what or which person or people. So basically, if you saw something happen and then you want to know whether which person or uh, what object caused it, you refer it to whom, right? Whose is about ownership, whose are these keys, whose turn is it, right? Why is about reason, why don't is about making suggestion, how is about manner, how plus adjective or adverb is about asking about the extent of degree, right? How far, how long, how many, how much, how old, and how come. So those are all the how. How are you going to make use of WH question of how? All right. Okay. So this is something that is quite common. I think you guys have seen this a lot, right? So let's try and see the use of models into your enquiries. Okay. So as you can see on top, we have John and then we have Peter. Okay, you will need to fill in the gaps with can or cannot, may or may not, must or mustn't, have to or don't have to. Okay, can or can't, right? So the answer for it, John will say, can you come to the match this afternoon? Peter replied, I'm sorry, I can't. I must wash my father's car. And then John said, but it's raining. You don't have to wash it. Peter replied by saying, I know, but my parents say the rain may stop soon. And I can't go out with you tonight because I must go to my grandmother's birthday party and I may come back late. So yeah, by using models, um, you make it sound soft, right? Uh, even while rejecting and so on, it is not too directed. Okay, right? So that's the use of models in enquiries. Okay, now, like I said, there are two ways of oral enquiries. You can do it face to face, you can do it through telephone calls. Okay, so if you were to do an inquiry through telephone calls, this would be some of the things that you might consider before you start calling the person. So learn and practice telephone etiquette, right? Some manners. Have a purpose for your call. So before you pick up the phone, at least you know why are you calling the person. Speak clearly and slowly, right? You don't want to rush things off. Ensure you can be understood by the other person. Okay, so while the person is saying something, make sure you are able to uh, get all the information given. And while you are sharing information to the person, make sure that you talk clearly, okay? And then you do not rush things out, and then you clarify certain things, right? To make sure that the decision or the result of the enquiries is successful. Okay. So, if you want to make a request through a telephone call, if you need to ask for a specific person, then phrase your request as a polite question. If you only have an extension number and no name, you can say so. If you're calling us for a specific reason, just explain briefly what it is, right? So, if you want to do it formally, you can say, may I ask who's calling, please? Or can I ask whom I'm speaking to, please? Where are you calling from? Is that definitely the right name or number? You know, you can use all those formal phrases, or you can make it informal, you know, depending on the person you are speaking to. If you are speaking to someone who is uh, younger, so on, maybe you can make it casual, right? So you can say, who's calling, please? Or who's speaking? Who is it? Whom am I speaking to? Right? So you can make it less formal. Okay. Asking the caller to wait or transferring the call, right? So if you are transferring a caller to someone else, you should let them know that you are doing so, just so they know what is happening, as a silent tone could be mistaken for a disconnected line. If you are the one being transferred, you will often hear the person use the following phrases. Okay, so it's important to indicate that you are going to transfer the call or ask the caller to wait. So you can say, could you hold on a moment, please? Just a moment, please. Hold the line, please. I'll just put you through, or I'll just transfer you now. So that's how you transfer or you ask a person to wait, okay? Or if you want to do it casually, you can say, hold on a minute, or just a minute, or okay, wait a moment, please. Okay? Right, giving negative information. If you are the one answering a call, you might not be able to help the caller. You can use some of the following phrases in these circumstances. Right? So if you happen to be the person who pick up the call and then you do not know what to do, or you could always tell the person, I'm afraid the line is busy at the moment. That line is engaged at the moment. Could you call back later, please? Or I'm sorry, he's out of the office today. Or you may have dialed the wrong number. So this will be some of the phrases. Or you can say, sorry, Ahmad's not here, or Ahmad is out at the moment. Okay? Right, telephone problem. If you don't understand everything the other person is saying, be honest. Tell the other person immediately, otherwise you might miss some important information. Most people will appreciate your honesty and will be happy to oblige, right? So be honest. I'm afraid I can't hear you very well. Would you mind speaking up a bit, please? I'm afraid my English isn't very good. Could you speak slowly, please? Could you repeat that, please? You know, if you didn't catch what they are saying, you could make use of these phrases. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Or say that again, please. I can't hear you very well. Sorry, this line is quite bad. Okay, so these are all the phrases to be used if you have problem hearing what they are saying. Leaving or taking a message. Okay, so if the person you're calling is not available, be prepared to leave a message. This could be a voicemail, which is a digital voice recording system, or an answering machine. This record messages onto a tape. If you're leaving a message with another person, They will either ask if you want to leave a message, or you could request to leave a message with them. Okay, be sure to leave your number if you want the other person to call you back. Okay, can I take your name and number, please? Can I leave a message, please? Could you please ask Ahmad to call me back? Could you spell that for me, please? Okay, so this is formal, and then casual. You will just say, I will ask him to ring you when he got back. Okay. Could you tell me? Could you tell Ahmad that I called, please? You know, all those how you handle if the person is not there. Okay. Saying goodbye. So the easiest part of the conversation, simply be polite and speak with a friendly manner. So you have to end the conversation. Thank you for calling. Have a good day, or goodbye, you know, or informally you will say bye, talk soon, or speak to you again. So yeah, I think this also is a good practice, especially when you are texting someone. You don't just want to leave it hanging. You would like to say, thank you for your help, so have a good day, you know, talk to you soon, glad I could share something with you, and so on. So you want to end it well. Okay. Common phrasal verbs that you might be using throughout the telephone conversation. So you might be using hold on, hang on, put, through, get through, hang up, call up, and so on. Okay. You can read about this on your own later. Okay. Call back, pick up, get off, get back to, cut off, or switch off, or turn off. Okay. So you can go through this later on. Okay. And practice where, if let's say you will need to use these phrases in the future. Okay, making arrangement. If you have to make arrangement, sometime while you are making inquiries, it involves making arrangement. It's important to be polite as you negotiate. Here are some phrases you might use. So, shall we see January 20th? How about the following week? So, yeah, you want to make suggestion. Would the week of January 18 work for you? So that would be some of the arrangement of date that you can use. Okay. Asking for suggestion. What would you suggest? Okay. Do you have a time or place in mind? Okay. So when you have to decide on times and places to do things, you can invite the other person to make suggestion. It can be seen as a sign of politeness. Okay. Making requests. When you ask people to do things for you, it's again essential to be polite. You can use the magic words could and please, as seen below. So could you send me an email with the detailed offer? Do you mind sending me the report again, please? So always have please at the back of your request, so that it can soften the request, and then you don't sound too directed. I mean, it doesn't sound like you are being bossy towards a person. You just want to make a request to them. Okay. Right. The rules of face-to-face meeting. Just now we talk about telephone meetings, and now we talk about face-to-face meetings. Okay. So if you make a request face-to-face, I mean, you're talking to the person then, synchronous, right? You have to provide professional, courteous, and helpful service. Okay. You want to be professional, means you want to be clear of the request that you want to make. Okay. Courteous, you want to sound polite, and then you want to provide as much as possible. Okay. Treat all the customers with respect, honesty, and equality. This is very hard to be seen, especially in Asia, because we are all very judgmental, right? We always look at how people dress up, how people talk, what they wearing, and so on. But all of those um, should be avoided, right? Because everyone deserves a fair treatment when it comes to making a request and replying to the request. Okay, everyone should be respected regardless of their background. Okay, address at least 80% of your customers' queries and communicate clearly and competently. So let's see. Next one, provide an up-to-date, accurate, and clear advice or information. So you want to be prompt. Listen attentively. This is also very important. If you happen to be the person replying to the inquiries, you have to be able to listen attentively in order for you to provide a possible reply, a relevant reply to the inquiries, because you do not want to provide them something that they are not looking for, right? So use WH question to get more information for a clearer idea of the inquiries. Okay. Now, the rule for written inquiries and reply. So when it comes to written inquiries, like I said just now, it has to be, it can be in the form of letter, it can be in the form of email, and it can also be in the form of memo, right? So regardless of which form do you decide to make, right? First of all, you have to use appropriate and formal language, English, um, if needed, right? Use appropriate and suitable format. For letter, we normally use block style format, okay, full block style format. In Malay, we use surat rasmi lah, okay. Use proper language, form and function. Act promptly, address and state the issues clearly, right? So all these need to be within your consideration before you send out your written inquiries. Okay. Now, here is a sample of letter of an inquiry. Okay. Letter of inquiry. So as you can see in the letter of the inquiry, you are going to start off with the letterhead. Okay. Or if you do not have, if you're not writing on behalf of anyone, you are writing on behalf of you, so that should be your own address. Okay, you do not need to have your name on top. So your own address, you can put it here. Okay, you can keep everything to the left. Yeah, to the left, everything. So it reminded me of Beyonce's song. Okay, so everything, yeah, you keep everything to the left. Okay, so you started off with your own address, okay, possibly no punctuation, no comma, and so on. So same goes to your address here, no comma and whatsoever and everything, right? And then you followed by the date of the letter being written, and then followed by the receiver's address. So you start with sender address, followed by the date, and also followed by the receiver address. Okay. So remember, the address has to be a complete address. Okay. Name of the house or the shop, the road, the street, the city, the postcode, uh, the district, right? And then, yeah, the city itself, and then the state, right? So all has to be a complete full address. Okay, and then you will continue with salutation. So dear Mr. If you know the name, you'll have it here. If you do not know who's going to read it, you are going to address it as dear sir, or dear sir slash madam, okay, or dear sirs, right? So that's how you address them. Salutation. So no comma needed, unlike Malay letter, right? So many punctuation, we have so many comma, but for this, you do not have to put any punctuation, any full stop or whatsoever, okay? And then continue with the subject heading, subject of the letter. And if you are writing an enquiry letters, it's always started with the word enquiry, inquiry about. If you are writing a reply, then your subject will start with reply to enquiries about. Okay, so that's how you wrote it down. You can either underline this or you can bold it. So either one, right? Okay. So after you have done with this, you will move on to the body of the letter. So you will start with introduction. Who are you? Why are you writing? Where do you get the information from? And then followed by what are some of the requests? Okay, what are some of the enquiries that you would like to have from them, or you would like to get from them? Okay, and then you ended it with the last paragraph with what do you expect from them, when do you need it, and then a little bit of appreciation, all right, thank you and so on, right? And then your sincerely, if you have the name here, you will use your sincerely. If you do not have, if you do not know who's going to read, you will have here yours faithfully, okay? And then your sign and any attachment. Okay, notice that for the body, everything start from the left and we do not have any number. Unlike Malay letter, we have number 2 and then we have an indent. So it's not needed for English letter. For full block style letter, you do not need to have all those things. Okay, so this will be the main thing that you will have in the letter. Sender address, date, receiver address, salutation, subject heading, introductory paragraph, the body, the conclusion, and then the complementary closure. Alright, so that's how you are going to write your letter. Okay. Now for a memo is simpler compared to the letter. So memo come from the term memorandum. So a memo is generally not as formal as a written letter. However, it is certainly not as informal as a personal letter. Okay, the tone of the memo is generally friendly as it is a communication between colleagues. Like I said, you only send memo to the person who is under the same institution or organization as you. Okay, you don't send it to someone outside the organization. So keep the memo concise and to the point. If necessary, introduce the reason for the memo with a short paragraph. Use bullet points to explain the most important step in the process, and then use a short thank you to finish the memo. I think you guys are very familiar with the memo. All your assumption letter, all your calling letter, to a program, exemption letter when you attended a program, all those are memo, right? Because sometimes JPA will be writing to JKM student, JPA lecturer write to JKM student. So because we are under the same polytechnic, that's why we use memo. If let's say student want to write to Petronas, Then you cannot use memo. You will use something else. Okay. So this will be sample of memo. Normally on top of the memo, you will have to, from, date, and also subject. And then you have the content, right? The body of it. So a little bit of introduction, a little bit of the body. What do you want to request? And then a conclusion. And then you can sign. Sign is not needed, right? Because we already stated from whom. But sometimes, if you want to make it formal, yes, you do include signature in the memo. Okay. Email is another form of written inquiries. If you are used to using email to catch up with friends, writing a formal email might feel pretty foreign to you. It's not quite the same as writing a business letter, but it's definitely a huge step in that direction. Clarity, conciseness, and being correct are the keys. Okay, so basic information about email. So email is much less formal than a written letter. So I think you guys know lah all this. If you are writing to someone you don't know, a simple hello is adequate. Okay, using a salutation such as "Dear Mr. Smith" is too formal. So yeah, it is less formal. Okay, writing to someone you know well, feel free to write as if you are speaking to the person. Right, include a telephone number to the signature of the email. This will give the recipient the chance to telephone if necessary. Now, this is important. They can always reply to your email because they can click reply, right? But it will be good if you can leave telephone number so that at least if they need more information, they can always call you back. Okay. It is not necessary to include your email address because they can just click reply. When replying, eliminate all the information that is not necessary. Only leave the section of text that are related to your reply. This will save your reader time when reading your email. So you can delete all the other email that is being chained together, right? Just focus on the email that you want. Okay. So here are example. Alright. So for example, dear madam or sir, we are blah blah blah. Okay, and then you want to be very direct, right? You don't want to go around the bush. Okay, and then we look forward to your early reply. Okay, so this would be example of inquiry by email. So I think that's all. So I hope you all understand this topic clearly, right? And maybe we can do some practices related to this, and I hope you can also practice some of the phrases stated here in order to get better at making and replying to inquiries. That's all for today. Thank you, everyone.